Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome to Tuesdays. Tuesday's day to just, you know what today is? It's the day that right after the show, Kaustubha.
Mm-hmm.
The pickup truck is packed.
You're driving.
I'm driving straight across America.
Cross country thing.
With two little boys and three little boys. We got Bhakti Justin with us too. We're packing it up and heading across the country.
Well, this is going to be wild adventures.
Next stop, hanging out with Tukaram and Mukunda Kishore and with the Californians.
Wow.
Very excited.
How long is it going to take you to get there? Like 3 days?
Well, it depends how much of an animal I can be.
All right. Good luck with that.
A lot of chanting, a lot of hearing.
Are you visiting
this is the great thing about
others?
car rides when you're into Bhakti Yoga. There's so much to hear and chant about. Oh. Yeah, I'm into it. I love it.
Are you visiting any of our friends on the way?
On the way.
Motel.
Hey, if you live on the way, you write me on my Instagram account, and maybe you get Raghunath and friends stopping in your home. You know, it depends what route, but Vegas, Salt Lake, Nashville, maybe. Depends which way we go. We haven't quite decided.
Okay, well, so tomorrow there's no show. But
so tomorrow there's no show. You know what though? I'm thinking about doing Sweet Baby Krishna tonight.
Okay.
You know
just
why?
Like from on the road?
I'm pulling over and just chilling out so I can stretch out.
Okay.
Because I love to stretch during Sweet Baby Krishna. Yeah, let's do Sweet Baby Krishna tonight. What do you say?
Sounds good. But it's 7 p.m. Eastern time?
7 p.m. Eastern time.
Sweet Baby Krishna. Then no show tomorrow, but then you'll be good to go for the following day?
I think so.
All right, let's make it happen.
We'll make it happen. Let's just make it happen.
But that's going to be
like
8
the old
a.m.
days. Remember the old days when I'd go camping and I'd do it?
Yeah, I do remember those days.
You're like, those were the bad old days.
Well, yeah, those are days like really bad connections. But but that's gonna be at 8 a.m. Eastern time, beginning on Thursday. For like a couple weeks. That's gonna be a big change.
Yeah, that's our new thing. We're gonna do 8 a.m. because I'm gonna be in Californian time.
Yeah.
And that'll still be 5 for me, but for Eastern time people. And you know what that means? The Europeans are gonna have to wake up a few hours earlier.
No.
They can't do it 11. They have to do it like...
No, it's later for everyone.
No, it's later for them?
Yeah.
No, forget it. I was like, I'm going to get those Europeans.
All right,
And,
well.
Australians and New Zealand, forget it. They're on just like wacky world time. It's like a whole nother world, Australia. Ever go to Australia?
No, I never have.
We should go sometime. Australia's incredible. It's just so far away that no one goes. Unless you're in Australia. But it's one of those like weird things where you cross the international date line. So you're leaving like on a Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning and you get back to New York and it's Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning. Something like really weird. Like, wait a second, where did that day go?
Or it's earlier than when you left.
Yeah. I gained an hour in my life.
Yeah.
I got to just keep doing that. Yeah, it gets weird.
All right, brother.
All right.
Enough
Yeah,
of
I'm
your
looking forward to it.
fascination with time zones.
Give me some encouragement on Instagram at Raghunath Yogi, and maybe we'll stop by your town. Bring the show on the road.
All right. So
All
you
right.
got a nugget?
Well, Kaustubh, I do have some nuggets, yeah.
All right.
Have you heard of Joseph Joubert?
Joseph. Yes, I know of Joseph. He's a
Joseph,
French moralist and essayist.
he's a moralist and an essayist. Yes, he said about discussion, the aim of argument or discussion
Hmm.
should not be victory but progress.
This is a very important nugget you're sharing with us.
Well, it's very sanguine.
Hmm.
Like that word. It's very sanguine. It's very relevant today, and
Yeah.
it's good for. It's good in the political circles. It's good in social
Spiritual,
circles. It's good in
social.
family circles.
Yeah.
A lot of times we're just cemented to being right all the time.
It seems that
And
that's the
if
way
there's
we
one thing
are.
about there's one thing about Bhakti Yoga, it's forced me to get out of any fundamentalist thinking.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have a massive ego. I don't know if you've picked up on that, but I've always want to be right, no matter what. And just to say that there's different vantage points, and to really try to understand other people's vantage point.
Right, because of the if maybe this is what you meant, like because when you enter into that whole bhakti yoga lifestyle and community, there's such an emphasis on like respecting one another. Is that
In
part of it?
respecting each other. Yep.
Yeah. So that
Inclusivism.
inclusivism and but just like in other words, when you're engaged in conversation or like say disagreement, which is always as soon as you got two people, there's going to be some level of disagreement probably. And so, but how you deal with that disagreement, within those bhakti yoga circles, the idea is there's no room, there's no space for ridicule or
Well,
um
there's no judgment there.
yeah, that
And you know why? Because we're following in the footsteps, sort of sweet, tiny little baby footsteps of Lord Krishna.
mhm.
Because Lord Krishna is not
buttery
judgmental.
buttery footsteps.
Those buttery footprints. Because Lord Krishna is not you don't hear the description of Krishna as the condemning judge.
Right.
He's the playful child. So
Mm.
our we follow that cue, and we don't judge. We don't condemn. We notice things, we discern things, but we don't condemn people.
Right.
We don't even condemn people we feel are doing something really wrong.
Yeah.
We see them as going through something, and they might have to go through that for 9 lifetimes.
We can disagree,
We can fully disagree.
but we can do it respectfully. And that's the idea, like what I gained from certainly this was there within like the Vedic yoga culture, and you read about it, like in the Greek and the Roman cultures, where they had this idea that like of debate, but it's like almost a very different idea than we have today. It was like debate today is
I crushed him.
yeah, is just trying to crush and ridicule and humiliate the opponent. Where from these wisdom traditions, there was an idea of debate, which was like two people that disagree can come together and share their viewpoints and debate it out, even vigorously, but with the idea that both could grow and understand each other better. And one is, both parties go into it willingly, like with the idea that my viewpoint may be changed.
Right.
Right. And then I'll respect the other for having helped me understand that. I mean, we don't have that culture. Yeah.
Yeah, take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Take this outside.
Yeah. But that which brings up the 4 steps to arguing intelligently.
Daniel Dennett's 4 steps?
Exactly. You want to
Daniel
share
Dennett's
those
4
with
steps of arguing intelligently? Okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
us? Okay.
Well,
What are they?
you want to know the 4 steps? All right. Well, I memorized these when I was in Brahmachari.
Did you?
You should attempt. I could really memorize well then. Now I can't memorize anything.
Okay.
I've got hundreds of padlocks around that I cannot remember the combinations to. You got those around your house?
You got to put a
Padlocks?
little sticker on them,
I
and
know, I should. I'll be like, I'll remember this one. I don't need a
yeah.
sticker.
No way.
I'm also like that with passwords for my computer. So I was like, crap.
The first step to arguing intelligently, to me, this is a total game changer right here.
You don't want to talk more about my missing passwords for my
Nope.
email address? Okay. Okay. First step, Daniel Dennett.
Want me to read it? You want to read
Yeah, sure. You can read the
it?
first one.
He says you should attempt to re-express your target. That's a pretty aggressive word, but I guess your opponent's or your target's position. You should attempt to re-express their position so clearly and vividly and fairly that your target says, "Thanks. I wish I'd thought of putting it that way."
That's when you really understand something. When you
Yeah.
can really tell it, and they feel heard. They feel
Right.
like you understand me. And if you don't understand them, you won't be able to talk it back to them.
You won't
And
be able
therefore
to.
they'll
Yeah.
say, well, yeah, but this, you forgot this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, even just practically in the course of debate, you have to come to that position where you really understand what each other believes. Right.
Empathy.
Yeah, empathy and just, clarity. Like what I see in all the political debate today is people aren't even, they're just, I mean, and this is the nature of politics, is that you're trying to win votes. So you're not really concerned with addressing another person's position. What you're really doing is recreating that other person's position, misrepresenting that other person's position, making it
Worse
seem
than it is.
ridiculous and totally impractical or totally misguided. You want to mispresent the opponent's argument. And but here it's saying that if you actually want to get somewhere, both sides really need to clearly understand. So you have to, if you and I disagree, then you have to present my belief to me even better than I can express it. Then now we're getting somewhere, right?
Okay.
So that's the first step.
Number 2, you should list any points of agreement. This is a big one, especially if they are not matters of general or widespread agreement.
Right.
So write them out. Write down what you do agree upon.
Yeah,
That's big.
Okay. This is what we both agree on. So it's so helpful, in the course of the conversation.
Number 3, you should mention anything you have learned from your opponent.
Oh.
That's great because immediately you're showing some vulnerability.
Yeah.
As well.
And appreciation. And in your ability to be reformed by what you're hearing, right?
Yeah, that's nice. And this could save a marriage, save a friendship, save a relationship.
Okay.
Only then are you permitted to say so much as a word of rebuttal or criticism.
There you go.
This is great. Every therapist should learn this. Couples, this should go into couple therapy.
But imagine if that were in our, if this in our culture, more, if this was more firmly rooted in our culture, what our politics would look like, what our...
Imagine if that. The world leaders, the people who have the nuclear codes, or they have to study this first. You want the nuclear codes? You read this first.
Yeah.
North Korea studying this. We should really learn what America thinks, what they're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, or what to speak of, left wing, right wing, that kind of thing.
Protestant, Catholic.
Yeah. God, his peace
Romeo
mission.
and Juliet's family. It could have all worked out.
All right. Thank you for the nugget.
Lots of nugs. All right. So, where are we? Srimad Bhagavatam. Narayanam namaskritya naram shaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tadojayam mudire. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Silakaya Chakshurunmadatam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers have come to open my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Also want to reiterate this Sunday, we have a special guest, Master Vedic astrologer, Drew Lawrence, who I really love. And a lot of you guys, including me and Mara, have got our charts done by him. And if you've got any good astrology questions, now it ties in with everything. Or if you, a lot of people are like, I love the Bhagavatam. I just think the astrology thing is a bunch of crap. I don't believe in it. It's too crazy. Bring those questions, and I think you're in for a treat. He's real, right, Mara?
Yeah, he's great.
He's great. We love him.
He
Kathy
really is,
Haggerty, and I think some others on here. And he's just very well spoken. Matter of fact, Kaustubha, he actually helped in the, he's a little bit older than us, and he helped in the actual, I don't know if it was a translation or the editing of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. He was on the Sanskrit team in Los Angeles, although he lives in Ireland right now.
Excellent.
And he listens to Wisdom of the Sages. He says, and his son does. His son listens to Wisdom of the Sages.
That's nice. Are we going to should I send in my time of birth and place of birth to you? Are we going to do that?
I asked him, I said, Kaustubha, we want to know what he was in his last life. And I said, is it able, can you do it with astrology? He goes, sometimes it's very clear. And he goes, but it also depends on the astrologer. And I said, I have full faith in you. Tell me about him. Who was he? He said, I'll try my best.
Okay, I'll give you my details.
Send it to me, and I'll send it to him.
All right.
We don't want to go into Mara's last life.
No, I'm interested.
It's interesting.
Oh, you guys know it?
Yeah, we know it. We know it. It was revealed by a mystic, and it's not pretty. It's interesting. We don't know what's behind the curtain. We don't know what we did yesterday. There's a whole curtain back there, and we wonder what's going on with us today. There's stuff that happened yesterday we can't perceive.
All right.
Yeah.
But what we can do is read a little Bhagavatam either way.
What we can do is live today and change today. That's what we can do. Whatever we got, we got. Now what are we going to do with our future? Good. And that we can do right now.
Let's do it.
All right, man. Well, you this is your cue, man. This is where you say, we are here.
Say that, today we're in Canto 3 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 9, which is Lord Brahma's prayers for creative energy. He's praying to Lord Vishnu. I don't think today, but I think next show, which would be Thursday, I think we finally get to Lord Vishnu's answers. Like the rest of the chapter is that. We got a few 2 or 3 verses here, and then the rest of the chapter is Lord Vishnu's answers. Vishnu's answers are so inspiring, it's like mind-blowing. I love this stuff. It's so good, so appropriate, so helpful. All right? So we're working up to that. But we're on text 24 today of chapter 9 of Canto 3.
Okay, great.
And you want to hit text 24? Hit it.
Sure. The Lord's potencies are innumerable as he lies down in the water of devastation. I am born as the total universal energy from the navel lake in which the lotus sprouts. You can't make this stuff up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't make that up. I am now engaged in manifesting his diverse energies in the form of the cosmic manifestation. I therefore pray that in the course of my material activities, I may not be deviated from the vibration of the Vedic hymns.
Nice point.
What, you can't make it up? Or
No.
Brahma's point?
Brahma's point, not yours.
Oh.
His.
My point was pretty nice.
It was
We
fine.
talk about a creation story. What a creation story.
Yeah. But here he is, the supreme creator, like the super creator, right? And but he's really conscious of, I want to keep fixed, right? I don't want to become deviated. There's so many vibrations that can deviate us, right? I don't want to become deviated from the vibration of the Vedic hymns, right? I want to keep that high quality vibration. I want to stay connected to that high quality vibration.
Yep. Just like in the truck today, Justin, we got to make sure that vibration coming out of the stereo is high vibe. You know, it's, what's interesting. You're in a car like that. We're going across America. That's our mind. That stereo is our mind. What are we going to put in that stereo? It's going to create our mind. You want a little bit of 70s rock and then and a little bit of like bhajans, or do you want more bhajans? You want more lectures? You want more wisdom of the sages? You want more Bhagavatam? Or do you want to mix in a little bit of like 80s hardcore? You know, that's our mind. That's our mind today. So we're going to be put through a test.
We'll see if you revert to the ELO of your youth.
ELO. What was the ELO songs?
So you see already he's deviated. I shouldn't even mention it.
I'm like a boulder on a cliff. Whoever pushes me, I'll go that direction. I'm like a boulder on the top of a pyramid. That's why association is important.
Yes.
Mara's pushing me towards positive things. You're bringing these 70s rock songs, Sarah.
I'm sorry. No, let's get right back to the Bhagavatam quickly.
All right. 27 and 28.
No, 25.
No, 26. 25. The Lord, the Lord who is supreme and the oldest, the Lord is the oldest, is unlimitedly merciful. See, that's a very source of our being, is this progenitor of mercy, the original source of mercy. I wish that he maybe smilingly bestow his benediction upon me by opening his lotus eyes. He can uplift the entire cosmic creation and remove our dejection by kindly speaking his directions.
What a beautiful verse.
Yeah. That is the food for the soul. We more than anything, more than all the stuff we've accumulated in our basements, what we really want is just some direction. Give us some direction. We spent some time fixing up the vehicle, detailing the vehicle, but no one knows where to drive.
Right. It's kind of like, it almost feels cinematic to me, this verse, because you have Lord Vishnu, this incredible, here's Brahma. He's seeing all this in his heart, right? He's got this kind of inner vision taking place, and he's looking at the form. He's already glorified that form of Lord Vishnu. So it's this incredible form, but it's a sleeping form. Even though he's on the waves of devastation, he's floating on this snake, right? He's got the snake is kind of coiled up and become his bed. And he's floating on like this universal waters, and he's sleeping. And Brahma is offering his prayers, and he's asking that he might open his eyes. And those eyes are described in so many places, right? They're called lotus-like. Right here, they're called lotus eyes. Padma lochan. What's the term used here? They got Padma lochan.
Padma lochan, maybe.
I don't know. Let's see. Dejection, the Lord, unlimited, merciful personality, smiling. Here's the smile again, right? Smitena. His Nayana Ambaruham.
Nayana is eyes, also.
And
what's that word? Ambaruham.
Yeah, Ambaruham. His lotus eyes. So his eyes he wants to see his eyes smile, right? It's described that the color, sometimes the color is described like the sunrise. Right? So he wants to see him open those eyes. But he's also saying that he can uplift the entire cosmic creation. And then this is so relevant to all of us, because we all experience this, and can remove our dejection. Right? How so? By kindly speaking his directions, right? It's all there. Like, what's the cure for, I don't know if we're going to get there today. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get there today, but really, in this moment, what Brahma was feeling was anxiety. He had this major task. Like, we all might feel some, what they call like performance anxiety or something like that, right? Like when you have some task in front of you that could be, you don't know if you're going to succeed, right? And it's important.
Every day before I get behind this microphone, man, what am I going to do today? What should I say? Mary's like, you can do this. It's all good.
But so the cure is that he's given directions, right? And these directions can remove our dejection. There's going to be a formula that's going to come up. Let's see if we get there today, but there's going to be a formula that comes up of how to deal with both anxiety and depression.
Well, right. It's one of those things. It's just like once you know direction, anxiety will decrease, especially spiritual direction. Like here's how it's going to be. Let me lay it out for you. Like I'm about to get in the car and the kids are like, where are we going? How long is it going to be? When do we get to pull over, go to the bathroom? Once you get some initial direction, it pacifies the mind.
Right.
And this is the big medicine for the mind is the Bhagavatam and the spiritual instructions by Lord Vishnu.
You know, the first two sentences of this commentary are very interesting.
Do tell.
The Lord is ever increasingly merciful. Ever increasingly. The Lord is ever increasingly merciful upon the fallen souls of this material world. The whole cosmic manifestation is a chance for all to improve themselves in devotional service to the Lord, and everyone is meant for that purpose. Right? Like, there's a reason for all of this. There's a purpose for all of this. Right? We all have a purpose. When you don't understand that, there's so much dejection, right? Because you don't even know what you're working for. You're working for sense gratification, but it's like it's always slipping away.
You know you're working. You know you're waking up. You got to wake up. But why? We're missing that big why.
Yeah.
Right? That's sort of also so important. And I think the Bhagavatam also helps like dig into that wound, like to pull out the piece of glass. Like, why am I here? What am I doing here? Why am I working so hard to make somebody else rich? You know, and if I make money for myself to be rich, what do I even do with my money? Do I just start collecting stuff? And a lot of us have this insight. We're like, well, I know stuff won't make me happy. It's not like we're from that generation that was like, yeah, we got to just accumulate stuff. We're over stuff. What are we supposed to be doing with our thoughts, with our energy, with our words, with our resources? What do we do with it? This is huge.
It's huge stuff.
Yeah.
You want to read the next verse?
Yes, sir.
Text 26.
Sage Maitreya said, how did Maitreya get into this?
Oh, okay. So now we just switched. We just went from level 4 to 3.
That means when Kaustubha says level, he means, you know, the Bhagavatam is conversations within conversations. So now we're in some conversation of Lord Brahma speaking to Vishnu.
That's level 4.
Yeah, and so now we're going to step back to the narrator of this story, Maitreya, who's speaking to Vidura. Got that?
Level 3. What's level 2?
Don't keep me going on this.
It's easy.
It's Sukadeva Goswami?
Sukadeva Goswami speaking to Maharaj Pariksit. Okay. And level 1
is Shaunaka Rishi and the sages of Naimisharanya.
Exactly. So these are stories within stories, right? The sages.
Like
we begin with the sages of Naimisharanya. They're asking Sutta Goswami questions. He says, "Oh, let me tell you about the conversation that I heard between Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Pariksit." That's level 2. And then Sukadeva Goswami says, "Let me tell you this. The conversation that was had between Maitreya and Vidura." Level 3.
It's and good to know these things because the Bhagavatam is filled with stories within stories. So it's nice to know these dialogues.
Right. And then within the conversation of Vidura and Maitreya, Maitreya spoke about the conversation between Brahma and Vishnu. So now we just went from level 4, Brahma and Vishnu, back up to level 3 with Maitreya speaking to Vidura. Text 26.
And you know what's another interesting about these story within a story is that when a person asks a particular question, that reminds them of some other question that happened in another lifetime or another yuga cycle or in the past, because these questions of purpose and self-discovery, these are ancient questions. This is the conversation we're supposed to be having, not all the noise conversation coming, flapping out of my mouth. This is the conversation of who am I? Why am I here? How do I feel significant in this world? What can I contribute in this world that's actually that will actually help people and help myself at the same time? This is the ongoing conversation, and this is what and this brings us to Q&A day on Saturday. If you haven't written your questions for Q&A day, you got to write Mara. Wisdom of the Sages 108@gmail.com. Wisdom of the Sages 108. If you have a question, you're part of the living Bhagavatam. Like they said at the Living Bible, right? This is the living Bhagavatam because we're still on this path and we're still Q&Aing. I Q&A on a regular basis. Meaning, but I'm the A. I'm not the A, I'm the Q. I have the questions.
Okay.
The questions also, it's not like I'm just an answer guy.
Right.
I like live in questions.
But imagine if, this is a little hard for us to imagine, but imagine if we didn't grow up with television, we didn't grow up with movies, we just grew up with this wisdom tradition, these stories. That's how Maitreya and Vidura relate, right? They're related on the basis of these wisdom stories. You ask a question, this is where I immediately go to.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. All right. So Maitreya is speaking now from this level 3. O
Level three.
Vidura, after observing the source of his appearance, namely the personality of Godhead, Brahma prayed for his mercy.
Hold on, let's read that again because
O Vidura, after observing the source of his appearance,
namely the personality of Godhead.
right? Brahma prayed for his mercy as far as his mind and words would permit him.
Hmm.
Thus, having prayed, he became silent, as if tired from his activities of penance, knowledge, and mental concentration.
Wow.
He became tired of thinking and meditating.
Yeah, well, again, he did it for a very long time, right? He woke up on that lotus, couldn't figure out where he was coming from, what his purpose was, what this was all about. Started to investigate externally, climbing down the lotus, couldn't find his source, came back up, went into deep meditation, and then internally he had this, and it was a very long meditation. And then internally he had this vision of Lord Vishnu, and then he just pours his heart out through these prayers, and now he's kind of come to the end of his rope in a sense. He's tired from his activities of penance, knowledge, and mental concentration.
Yep.
Commentary.
You can read the commentary?
Okay, I'll read. Brahma's enlightenment in knowledge was due to the Lord sitting within his heart. Now, I want to say something, Raghunath. Okay?
What?
That when we talk about this, like God sitting in one's heart, for a long, long time in my life, as a practicing Bhakti-yogi,
You didn't believe it.
it's not that I didn't believe it, but it just seems so far-fetched, like just so far down the road that connection would be strong, like that perceivable in any way, like, dynamic. That like God is in our heart. Okay, that's a nice theory, but like, do I experience that? But as I get older, it actually becomes a central focus for me
God is in my heart.
yeah, and that one can speak. It says here, Brahma's enlightenment in knowledge was due to the Lord sitting within his heart. So, is our enlightenment due to the Lord sitting within our heart? I think, in the past, my clear experience, my very tangible experience, was that I'm being enlightened from sources without, which is important as well.
Right.
I'm very good teachers are speaking to me from without. I'm hearing from them, and that's enlightening me. But as I'm growing older, I'm beginning to become just more conscious of the idea that I'm being enlightened from within as well. Right? And trying to understand that. And I think the more that we open up that conversation, like, in other words, our conversation with the Lord within the heart, the more that we begin, that becomes tangible.
I think because you're immersing yourself in the guru without, then you can connect more with the guru within.
It's meant to direct you that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a big part of our sadhana bhakti is the guru, the teachers without, not inside us, teacher without starts to tell us, hey, start studying sacred literature.
Mm-hmm.
And from sacred literature, it starts to unfold what a real gut feeling is and what is a bogus gut feeling. There's bogus gut feelings as well.
Yeah, bogus gut feeling. Yeah, because I do think this kind of talk gets cheapened. In other words, people speak about their internal, like, oh, the guru is within, and it's
I
like,
mean,
yeah, okay,
it's
but
huge.
if you
It's
don't have one
huge.
without, You know, it could be whatever is going on in your mind.
I
You can
mean,
consider that
guru
an
just means
internal guru.
teacher. You don't want a teacher? Did I say this yesterday, or did I give some other class yesterday? But it was like, because in the yoga community, it's always like, you are the guru. Make an altar and jump on the altar. The guru is within. Kill the guru. Or, you know what I mean? It's like this whole anti-guru without. But if there is no guru without, why do anything? Why go to school? Why read a book?
Yeah. Well, this is the point, that it's a combination of the guru without and the guru within, right? Whatever you're hearing from the guru within, you confirm with the guru without. Otherwise, it could be anything. It could be, it could be
My fear and anxiety.
your fear and
And
anxiety,
it
your
seems like it's
greed, your
within. It's
lust,
speaking to me.
yeah.
Yeah, so many times lust is my director, and I said, "Well, it's my instinct. She's the one. He's the one."
Yeah,
it's not your guru within; it's your lust, man.
yeah. Okay. So Brahma's enlightenment and knowledge was due to the Lord sitting within his heart. I mean, in his case, there's no question about it because that was all there was, right? After
Yeah.
being created, Brahma could not ascertain the source of his appearance. That was this first existential question. Where did I come from? Right? So after being created, Brahma could not ascertain the source of his appearance. But after penance and mental concentration, he could see the source of his birth. And thus he became enlightened through his heart. What does it say? Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikaviye, right? The Adikavi, the original poet, Lord Brahma, was Tene Brahma Hridaya. He was enlightened from within the Hridaya, within the heart. That's the first verse of Bhagavatam. So after being created, Brahma could not ascertain the source of his appearance, but after penance and mental concentration, right? It's not cheap. That internal experience is not cheap. You have to put in the penance and the mental concentration. That's called yoga, right? It's not just like I read some Instagram posts and suddenly I decided that God was speaking to me within my heart, or that I had this internal guru or something like that. No. And it's the external guru that instructs you in how to practice penance and mental concentration so that you can experience the internal guru, right? So after penance and mental concentration, he could see the source of his birth, and thus he became enlightened through his heart. The spiritual master outside and the spiritual master within are both representations of the Lord. Unless one has contact with such bona fide representations, one cannot claim to be a spiritual master. Lord Brahma had no opportunity to take help from a spiritual master from outside, because at the time, Brahma himself was the only creature in the universe. Therefore, on becoming satisfied by the prayers of Brahma, the Lord enlightened him about everything from within.
It's like a radio station. The dial, and you're just spinning the dial, and you're landing on a new country and like dance music and like NPR, and you're just scrolling through, and then there's static. You're scrolling through until we're doing this, and in sadhana bhakti, guru comes from without and gives us how to use that dial, how to tune in. And what do we do? It's Bhagavatam. You hear the Bhagavatam regularly. You chant the holy name with malas. You chant the holy name. You'll hear kirtan. You partake in kirtan. You start seeing your life as an offering, right? And you start putting God in the center instead of my own desires in the center. And that's going to be different for everybody. And with this little type of, fine tuning, we become clear. The reception, that one of those channels in this massive information age is Radio Vishnu. Just made that up. Radio Vishnu. And you tune in, and Radio Vishnu,
Paramatma.
you can hear Lord Vishnu speaking to you. Paramatma, the super soul within the heart. And when you start to hear that, you're advancing you're advancing in yoga, right? And because the Shastra, the sacred literature, the Bhagavatam, it starts becoming internalized,
right?
And we start to find like, oh, that's how we walk. That's the gate. That's how we think. That's what we think. Okay, I've been thinking resentful thoughts. I've been thinking angry thoughts. I've been thinking thoughts of revenge. That's not me. That's not. You start to find out what the real me is, And I got to uncover the layers of fake me's, fake personas, fake bravados, fake outfits I've been wearing that are not me. They're just sort of costumes covering up the genuine me. This is what we're peeling away.
You know, I like where you're going with this, Raghu, and I like the, I like the idea of taking this conception of God within the heart. Like Brahma did we got a formula here, right? And this is what was mentioned: penance, mental concentration, and now in the commentary, Srila Prabhupada said, due to his prayers, which were part of his penance and mental concentration, like that's where his mental concentration was at, right? First, he did this long penance, and then he was focused on offering these prayers, and now he's like almost exhausted. He was like so, fixed on it, for such a long time. But it was these that led to his vision within his heart, and that vision within his heart is like, it's not at all vague. For him, it's like he's speaking like you and I are speaking to each other right now. Like, it's that direct, that tangible. But that being said, how do we understand, assuming we're not having that level of perception of God within the heart, and we're hankering for the day that we do? But still, the idea that like God is enlightening us through the heart, I don't think it has to necessarily be exactly that tangible. Like I'm having a conversation back and forth.
Right.
Because like, for instance, if we go to text, I think it was the most quoted text by Srila Prabhupada, either in his commentaries or in his lectures. I forget which one. Text 1515.
Oh, my so is that
no.
Krishna's forgetfulness.
Yeah, that I'm situated in everyone's heart.
Hridyantasto, but I can't remember.
No, is it Apohanam Cha?
Hridyantasto Yubadrani Vidunati Saritsatam. Is that it?
No, that's not it. Text 1515 of the Bhagavad Gita speaks about how
up. She's trying to stump me.
The Lord is within. Mara, you got it, Mara?
Yeah.
Let's hear it, Mara.
In Sanskrit?
Yeah.
Sarvasya.
Yeah, please.
Sarvasya
chaham hridi sanivisto mato smrti gyanam apoanam cha.
Padescha.
Sarvar.
All right, go.
Padescha sarvar aham eva video Vedanta Veda vid eva chaham.
Yeah.
Vedanta vid Veda krit eva chaham. That's it.
Yeah. So there's kind of two things that are important. I think that's one of the reasons why it's the most quoted, because it two important features to it. So it can be quoted in either one. But this is the beginning of it. Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto, that I'm situated in everyone's heart. And then the next thing is interesting, because like God dictating in the heart isn't always like the enlightenment. He says, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So we were talking about freedom the other day, right? Like, how free are we really? Are these my decisions? That was yesterday, right?
It always ties right back into astrology. Yep.
Yeah,
we have free will.
Yeah.
And Krishna's love is not, he doesn't have us in a headlock saying, love me. Krishna says, hey, here's the info. If you want me, I'm here. You just have to desire it. You want spiritual truth? Desire it. And it will start to show up. I will start to show up because I'm situated in your heart anyway. Just pick up the phone, turn the dial, put the antenna up. I'm here. But if you don't want me, I got static for you if you want static.
Well, that's my point, right? That if you don't want me, I want to enjoy the material energy. I want to neglect my connection with God and all the and all that means.
Good luck with all that.
Well, that's what we're doing, right? Like, that's what we're trying to do. But if we want to do it wholeheartedly, we need to buy into the illusion, right? Like, if I want to kind of be the center of the whole equation, that doesn't work. If the leaf wants to be the root, it doesn't work that way. It needs illusion. So when we want that central role, we're not designed for it. but we can try to experience it through illusion. So if I'm going to try to enjoy this material world, I need to, and just like when we see kids play, right? They want to have fun. Well, like when we were kids, what kind of games did you play? I know, like when we were kids, it was always like army stuff, like we're
It
killing
was
each
always
other,
army.
like we're at
For me, it was
war or something like that.
army.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What did you
And
play,
so you
Mara?
would.
You didn't play army?
Legos? No, I didn't play army.
What did you play?
Okay.
I'm curious, actually.
Legos? Yeah.
A
Played with like
ghost?
Legos.
No, but when it
Oh,
was just your
Legos.
imagination and you
Yeah,
had
it was no
like,
Legos. Before
toys.
Legos. What did you play?
I don't remember.
Come on, is
Sorry.
it that embarrassing? Mara?
Pirates? Come on.
Like hide and seek? I don't
Well, hide and
know.
seek is one thing, but I'm
Didn't
talking
you
about when you're
take
using
on a
your
persona?
imagination. You know? Yeah, like when.
We're gonna have to go right to Papa Tony to find out.
Yeah,
the
he'll tell
Yeah.
us.
question because
Sister Ellie.
she's not revealing. I played Baker. If you want to know the truth, I was baking. Got the Holly Hobby oven.
But when kids, when they want to do that, you want to get so lost in it that it feels real, right?
Yeah.
And so if we really want to enjoy life separate from God, we have to get lost in this world. We have to get covered, and God in the heart will cover us if that's what we want. So he says, I'm in the heart of everyone. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So we talk about the turtles. They break out of the egg and they start running on the beach. Running for the water. Because nobody's told them to do that. Nobody's instructed them that, hey, when you break out, it's not like landing on the beach in Normandy, and it was like, okay, we're going to hit the beach and this is what we're going to do. Like there's some strategy.
Running and bombing and shooting. Right.
Yeah, right. Nobody told that little baby turtle, hey, as soon as you break out of that thing, you got to realize there's predators and you got to run like hell to get into that water. Right.
That instinct is the super soul. That's instinct is God in the heart.
Yeah, run.
And this
now.
is the curse of free will. It's the blessing and the curse. And really what we're trying to do in Bhakti is harness our free will so that we can use it to evolve. Instead of just letting free will of my lower nature direct me towards hellish existence due to layers of bad choices, one on top of the other,
right.
As taught to me by television, bad role models, etc.
So just like that turtle's getting this instruction, run for the water. The instructions that are come from God within the heart, it's either enlightening or it's covering. It's either remembrance of the truth or it's forgetfulness of the truth. It's whichever we desire more intensely. And if we begin to desire more intensely, I want truth, I want reconnection, then God is revealing himself to us and revealing truth to us within the heart. And that can manifest as something as simple as this. I want to wake up at 5 o'clock and listen to wisdom of the sages. That's like Paramatma saying, hey, remember you wanted truth? Wake up. Actually, there's a verse, I should find it. It's in the Bhagavatam that describes how when we wake up in the morning, that's the Paramatma, like waking us up, like time to wake up, but even more figuratively, right? Like time to wake up. You've been expressing to me your desire that you want truth, that you want to disengage from the material illusion. Okay, here's a little something for you, and he'll give it to us to the degree of intensity that we have for truth. To that degree, Paramatma will reveal it in the heart, and that's God speaking to us in the heart.
You know what real friendship is? Friendship is to almost remind. We become
other.
Also we remind each other. Remind each other about
You're my
what Paramatma's choice would be. Like Kaustubha would say, hey, tomorrow morning we're going to talk about this, or let's hear it. We're going to go like this, and hey, Mara. And Mara always like, on my back, when are we doing Sweet Baby Krishna? And I'm always like, she's like that Paramatma giving me like good advice. Like, yeah, you know what? That's right. I do want to do Sweet Baby Krishna. We would remind each other to do something right in this world. Instead of those friends who are like, come on, let's go out. Let's go smoke some cigarettes. You have friends that are trying to like drag you down. I think you have friends who are trying to lift you up. We have to be almost like the spokesperson for the Bhagavatam or for the Paramatma within each other's lives. And that's a real friend. That's a real lover. That's a real partner.
It's actually guru.
We want to lift instead of pull down people.
It's guru is, literally the word guru means like heavy. but the way it's spoken of is like heavy with knowledge, right? But in other words, really that conduit. What is guru? Guru is the conduit for transcendental knowledge, right?
The
Guru,
conduit. I like
yeah.
that.
You like conduit? Yeah.
Electricity, electrical terms. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose, or even
Conduit.
like I think of like how you would dig water, like in channels for water, like that, right?
Canals, perhaps.
Canals, yeah, canals. Thank you. So that's guru. What guru is that it's interesting because I once saw some. You know, it's always
Gonna be
tricky
good.
how we navigate the different rules and regulations and sadhanas and things that come down in the teachings and how I once saw some bhakti yogis debating amongst each other.
Were they aiming the argument
Yeah, it was
to,
civilized.
to be victorious or progress? What was the aim of the
Well,
argument?
I'm not in the hearts of each one of them. I don't know to what degree, but it was a civilized conversation. But it was the question was this, and for those that practice this will be more familiar to them. But the question was, Prabhupada gave us like some sadhana, right, like to practice, particularly in the temples, a regulated program, and that includes the first song that's sung in the morning, right?
Samsaradava Naralidha Loka Chanaya Karunyaganaganathvam.
Oh
Right?
man, we should sing
Vishnu.
this every morning, like on the show. It's like
So
it is
beautiful,
part of
huh?
the morning, right?
Yeah.
Praptasya
We should have
Karya
that as the morning
Gunas
song.
Vande Guru. Oh, maybe it's that instead of Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's a good song. Prabhuji's pretty good.
Okay.
One day we're gonna get hit up by like Michael Jackson or whoever owns the rights to that song, and they're gonna be like, "You owe us tens of thousands of dollars."
So in any case, that first song is like a glorification of the guru, right?
Yeah.
And the debate was because within the institution within the institution of ISKCON with the Hare Krishna movement, there are many gurus. I was initiated by one guru, you were initiated by another guru, right? But the guru of the gurus is Srila Prabhupada, who we call the founder Acharya. All of the gurus are trying to very closely follow his teachings, right?
Right.
So the question was, like you have a group of people standing in a temple together and they're all singing this song. Well, who are they singing it to? Are they singing it to Prabhupada? Because that's the guru that they all share? Are they all singing in their own hearts to a different guru? This was the
Are they
question.
singing to the guru within the heart of every living being? Just walking up to each other person and sing it to the guru in their heart.
You see, because as I was watching it, to me, what occurred to me was like this. Really, the song, it was written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, this great saint, and he had his own guru. But the way that I understand is that he's singing about the principle of guru, right? Like in other words, that in one sense there's no difference, because they're both presenting the same thing. They're all part of that channel. They're all part of that canal, right?
The Guru Varga, right? Or the Guru clan, the group of gurus who are like that current, that sort of
I'm
like
singing to all of
transcendental
them.
riptide dragging us out to the transcendent ocean.
You want to drown in that ocean, right? But I'm singing to all of them, right?
Yeah.
And so, like you're saying, we should all become part of that Guru Varg for each other. It doesn't mean I'm some big acharya. It doesn't mean I'm some big, I'm recognized as some, but we're all trying to channel that truth, be a channel of that truth for each other, as we go through the day. And
that's
that,
beautiful.
Yeah, and and like you're saying, that's what it means to be a friend. The Paramatma in the heart, Paramatma is the friend, right, in the heart, right?
The friend.
What is it? Bhoktaram Yagitapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarvadehinam. He's the friend of every living entity.
Every living being.
Yeah. So that's what it means to be the friend, right? To help each other stay fixed in that truth. So while you guys are traveling across the country,
hearing transcendental sound, listening to the external guru of the radio, you got to be careful what radio you're turning into. That somewhere in the guru. Some is guru, some is not guru. Mara, what's our takeaways today? You got some little nuggets?
Keep the vibration high. Spiritual
vibration high.
direction. Yep. Spiritual direction decreases anxiety.
Yeah, it does.
The guru within awakens by the guru without. Tune into Radio Vishnu. And
I like that one. That's a t-shirt. Tune into Radio Vishnu.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then guru is the conduit for transcendental knowledge.
Ooh.
Boom.
I thought you'd be all over my Riptide one. Riptide. No?
I don't even remember the Riptide one. Oh, that just
a lot
came
of
out.
ego invested in my analogies. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Srimad Bhagavatam, we do it every day. That's our subtitle. We do
Except
it
for tomorrow.
Except for tomorrow. We're not going to do it tomorrow. But we're going to do Sweet Baby Krishna tonight for Patreon members. Be part of our Patreon community. It's really fun. And tonight we're doing Sweet Baby Krishna wherever I am at 7 a.m. Eastern time. I'm going to pull over the F-150 and we're going to get out. And we're going to do some transcendental reading tonight. So please join us. If you're not a Patreon member, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages and support our podcast. We appreciate it so much. For the price of a cup of coffee,
we got some BRG meetings today, right?
Yeah.
What?
Bhakti Recovery Group is meeting. The men meet at 11 a.m. today and the women at 2 p.m.
They separate today.
Yeah. And if you're
men go over here, the ladies go over there, and they have the recovery meetings separately.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, and if you're on my trail, we're heading out in the west. If you think you're somewhere on the way, just put out your name, and you might get a carload of transcendentalists stopping by. Aspiring
you take that Route 66.
Yeah, we're gonna get our kicks on Route 66.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. I think it's gonna be a beautiful day today. That's what my feeling is. Look at Bhakti Justin. He's all ready.
He's like, I'm going to California.